speak to Claire Thomas from Stratford Music Network and a number of their young band members. Claire is passionate about supporting and developing young people through music, and she tells me just how important this is and what their plans are for the future. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Emma.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for joining me today. So there's quite a few of you. Claire, you're the boss lady.
In this house. Yes, true.
The other guys on the call, do you want to just introduce yourselves and what band you're in, maybe, or however you want to go? Sam, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'm Sam. I'm unfortunately Claire's son. I'm in all the bands. So yeah, all of them.
Oh wow, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoy the bands.
Leash and the Ripcords, actually. We have two main bands now in the house. Leash and the Ripcords. Annie Mentor's Midnight System.
Okay. Well, we'll go into a bit more detail about the bands and stuff in a minute. Who wants to go next?
Hi, how are you? My name's Tyler. I'm the lead singer in Leash.
Hi, Tyler. Who's next?
My name is Luca Troiolo. I'm the bassist for the Ripcords.
Hi, Luca. And last but not least,
I'm Layla, and I'm the new drummer for Midnight System.
So, Claire, what is the Stratford Music Network? Tell us a bit about what it is.
Right, okay. Stratford Music Network. Why we set this up, it wasn't intentional that it was going to escalate into what it's become. But about 2 years ago, Sam, who is my son and appreciates being my son, regardless of what he says, he was in something called Stratford Music Centre. Stratford Music Centre was run by a couple of really great ladies for many, many years. I mean, talking over 3 decades. And it gave kids music lessons, all that kind of thing. And it also set up a rock school. So it put kids into bands and they performed in a gig at the end of each term or whatever. So Sam joined this and he was there for about 18 months playing drums, guitar, that kind of thing. Sam really wants to be a musician, have some kind of career in music. And so, this was brilliant. And unfortunately, for various reasons, I don't know, funding, that kind of thing, the Stratford Music Centre did close a couple of years ago. So this left us as a family in a little bit of a dilemma where I really could see the benefit musically is the main thing really at first about Sam being in a band. And so I said to my husband one day, when he was at work, I was driving along, I gave him a call and I said, it's going to close. I said, I'd really like Sam to stay in a band. How do you feel about them coming around the house, a band, one of the bands from there, maybe the members, will get one of the tutors in who used to work with them at the music centre. And between the parents, basically, we'll carry this on in our house. And he's a nice guy. As Sam will vouch for. He suffers a lot with my crazy ideas. And he's like, yes, that's fine. Yeah, a bit busy. I don't think he was really listening to me too much at work. Put the phone down. By the end of the day, when he came home, there was a couple of bands I'd already set up. They weren't actually in the house at that point, but it's like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. It's like, I thought it was just a few people coming around to jam, Claire, but it's escalated out of control. So that's what we did. And we started off with a couple of bands, and it was pretty obvious early on the benefits these kids were getting. These were youngsters like Sam, obviously was our son, but some of them was his friends, some of them had come from the rock school, and they were in the house and they practiced every week. And it was really obvious to me and my husband that not only is this great because we're getting live music cheap in our house, we can't afford to go to gigs these days, but also the benefits for these young people goes far beyond anything that's musical. That's great, they're playing the music, but it's actually a vehicle for their self-esteem, their confidence, mental health, and all the skills that we see developing, such as life skills, work skills, the working together, the collaboration, conflict management, all those kind of things, accountability, having to come to rehearsals on time. It's brilliant. You can see them developing before our eyes, and this friendship thing that's going on as well. You know, these are groups of kids that might not actually gel together outside of this environment, but music really brings these kids together. So all this was going on in the back of our minds, but I said to these two bands at the time, why don't you do a gig? It'd be really great, and also you can design some t-shirts, all those exciting things that, you know, come with being in a band. And they really went for this, and they absolutely loved it. I think, Luca, you wore your Ripcords t-shirt to death, I think. So it's a proud representative of the Ripcords. We all wear them. Anyway, so I said, why don't you do a gig? And we ended up doing a gig. I didn't want it to be, you know, a church hall particularly, or a school hall. I wanted to get away from that environment. You know, think about gigs that I've been to all my life. I absolutely love music, mad music fan. Those really great rock and roll gigs, like a proper gig with sound and lighting. So we ended up playing quite a big theatre, had 250 turn up, which was brilliant, really plugged it. I know, this was in about 8 weeks of the two bands at the time forming. Did it all for charity, gave some money to children in need. Which is all great, positive. But at the end of that, a lot of people are saying to us, we need to do this sort of on a bigger scale, I guess. The people were asking me, the band was so great, they were asking whether I was their manager, if they had a manager. And they went in there as like these young kids. They came out as like rock stars. I think Wembley they thought was going to be the next stop, but not quite yet. But anyway, so we carried it on here for, you know, we still carry it on here, actually. We do it all for free in the house. We still have these in-house bands, quite literally in-house. And that's all great, and they get a lot from that. And they really, the people like the Ripcords, Midnight System and Leash, now they're our three bands that we carry on here. But in addition to this, Emma, what we thought we'd do, because people said this is great, you need to be doing this on a wider scale, is we've now set up what is effectively Spark, which is the name of our band programme, which is ultimately exactly what we do here. It's a very simple concept. Get kids, put them in a band, and this we'll do things in the community. We'll go out to sort of community centres and run your sort of standard Spark programme. We can do this in schools at like younger kids, sort of 8 to 11. And also we want to work with like groups of kids in special settings, should we say, such as Warwickshire Young Carers. We're going to be doing something with them. So there's a group of young kids who may not be able to get access to this kind of thing ordinarily, just because of the situations they're in. We're going to work with a youth club over in Coventry called Fridays, which is all about getting kids out of knife crime and getting them out of gangs and keeping them out of gangs. So, you know, all these settings where people can really benefit, you know, young kids can. But I mean, every young person can benefit from this. It's not only ones in, you have special situations, you know, everybody, every human at some point has some kind of, you know, mental health, not say issues, it's not an issue. Everyone is, no one's a robot, and music is it's a very good tool to help these things. And the other thing we want to do is, what's really important to us is, these kids, you know, I know the parents, wonderful, supportive parents, great kids, but they are lucky, and they'll say that themselves. They're lucky not only because the parents, they find that kind of money to give them the music lessons, but also they have that support from the family network. And a lot of these, they don't live in Stratford. Tyler particularly, well, Layla as well, they live quite far afield. And they come here, and the parents are very supportive. Now, that's not always the case with families, and certainly financially, music is an expensive hobby and can be a very snobby kind of thing. And so with our Spark programs, what we really want to do is make sure that every child or every youngster can be a musician. So we're going to provide the instruments, and we're going to make sure that anybody can come in, even if they've never picked up a guitar or whatever. To enable us to do that, we're working with organisations for sponsorship for some kids, and in certain settings we're looking for sort of funding. We go to funding providers and we make sure we can do those fully funded programmes. So that really is, that's the main core of Stratford Music Network. In addition to that, and I realise I'm far less interesting than these young people, but what I also do is the whole sort of network thing, if you like, away from the band programmes, is also about supporting local bands and musicians that are nothing really to do with me. They don't rehearse in our house. We can't have that many. With the 3 bands is enough. So I support these 3 bands here because they just carry on and they come in every week, and they're our babies now, really. We do the Spark programs, and also we support any local bands and musicians to give them a step up and to promote them, because it's really difficult. And the creative industries and arts have been, we all know what's happened to them in the last year or so anyway. So in view of that, we've also set up now, this is kind of the final strand, if you like, these regular Friday night gigs. They're going to be at Shakespeare Cocktail Bar, Shakespeare Street Cocktail Bar and Club, starting on the 25th of June, working with a great guy there named Earl with us. And between the 2 of us, we determined we'd bring in, first of all, live music back to Stratford, because it is a little lacking sometimes here, especially with youth bands, actually, which is a real shame, because Stratford should be one of the big places in the world for culture, with that Shakespeare guy. And but we need to bring something back, inject some energy into it in terms of youth music. But what we're also going to be doing with these regular Friday night sessions is we're going to have more of an established band, but these support bands are going to be the young bands, such as the Ripcords, such as Leash, such as Midnight System, such as these Spark bands that will be coming through our programmes, and all these other bands locally, which I'm trying to help. We'll get them in there. But also, it's not only about the on-stage, Emma, it's about off-stage opportunities. So there's a lot of kids, and a lot of these lot here, they would be great to be the next Bruce Springsteen or the next Paul McCartney, obviously, and these 4 I know will be. However, it's not only about that in music. There's a lot of offstage, there's lighting, there's sound, there's videography, there's photography, there's all these careers, like £15 billion, well, pre-pandemic. That's what it's worth to the economy every year. And these industries, they're brilliant industries, then kids want to go into them, and actually to get that experience is something that is not really easily available. So with these gigs that we'll be doing on a Friday night, we're also going to be inviting in young people, working with the colleges to do that, to get them working on the sound, doing the photography. So it's all like a whole thing that we're doing is not only supporting these kids, supporting the kids in the Spark programs, supporting young bands, but it's sort of all the students as well. And it's that wider sort of collaborative thing that we're trying to get going to make this whole Stratford Music Network beneficial to everybody, really. So that's it, and I think that's me done. Over to you guys. Phew.
Plenty to be getting on with though, Claire, isn't there?
That's it. Oh, plenty, always plenty to be getting on with in Claire's world, don't worry.
So what about you guys then? You are the ones in the bands making the music. What does this mean to you?
Well, I've obviously got a band every other day, so it's kind of like a creative outlet, I'd say. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm really happy with it, even though it takes up a lot of my time. I do really enjoy these bands, and I really enjoy the people I collaborate with, like save for Tyler maybe, but yeah, I just really like these bands, and obviously I'm very passionate about like music, and it's just, like I said before, a good creative outlet. And I think to have that on a wide scale, to have other people experiencing like this kind of joy that I feel is that'd be such a great thing.
Well, that sounds lovely. And what about Tyler? How was it for you? What made you get into it in the first place?
To be fair, it was completely by mistake, if I'm being honest. I put my name into a website thinking, I'd love to be in a band. And I thought, it'd be a bit of a laugh. But now I ain't looked back really, because it's just been mega, sort of like everything's happened at once. And it's like, I've probably gone the furthest in any like career out of music and all that with what Claire's doing and what Claire and Mike are doing. And it's brilliant, honestly. Yeah. And it's great that like something like that can happen, because I never planned to be in a real band. I thought it was just a wind up really. So whatever I did, it happened, and here I are.
Wow. So did you play an instrument before you joined?
I'm the lead singer now. I never played any
okay.
instrument.
Yeah.
I'd sang a little bit here and there. That's about it.
Yeah.
But now I've started playing guitar because of it, because I want to write songs.
And good, really good. But Tyler, I mean, what, I'm putting in with the interview in here. Sorry, Emma, but what have you got from this, other than the music stuff? Emotionally and that kind of thing. Is there anything else you've really got from it?
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm glad that I've made the friends that I have. Honestly, like I never would have known Sam or Jacob or Vinny or Will, and I'm glad that I do now. Like even if the band never worked out, I'd still be mates with them after. So it's like that. It's just, I just find it crazy how something like that, from just putting your name into a website to meeting great people. It's mental, really.
That's really nice to hear, isn't it? What about you, Layla? How did you get into music and being in a band?
Well, I've been doing music since I've been playing drums since start of high school and stuff, just as a hobby. Mm-hmm. And then Claire popped up to us one morning on WhatsApp saying, "I've got an idea. Let's have a band." And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it was just a great experience to being able to socialize with people my age and all connect over one thing. It's something special.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice to hear.
You must learn to block me on WhatsApp, Layla. I told you. Emma will be doing that soon.
What about you, Luca? What's your experience been like?
My experience has been quite funny, really. My mum just kind of one day said, "Oh, I've met this lady named Claire. I think you should take bass lessons." And so Claire introduced me to Matt, who's it basically introduced me to music. And Claire and Sam and Matt, they've all helped me build myself like that. And it's given me something to do. I think especially with coronavirus and stuff, I don't think without the music, it would have been really boring. But I think to work towards, I had gigs to look forward to. In the summer of last year, when things calmed down a little bit, we had a really big gig. It was really fun. Loads of people I knew were going to be there, and I've made really good friends through everything, and it does mean a great deal to me, all of this. But it's been really, really good.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear this, Emma, actually. I kind of know all this anyway, but it's just one thing I would say is an absolute privilege to have these kids around the house. I know these are sort of in-house bands, obviously, but the name says it all. But if me and my husband Mike is not here today, we can kind of replicate this on a wider scale and have these kind of a group set up where people have these friendships, have this confidence building. I think a lot of what has been said here and what I was trying to sort of get to with Tyler was, and without articulating that way, I think what they're saying is it's that self-esteem which comes from sort of having those friendships, feeling that sense of worth. We've had kids that have come through here, some leave along the way, GCSEs get in the way and that kind of thing, and that's all fine, that's part of the process. We've had kids who maybe have suffered with a little bit of anxiety, or there's been some certain little issues, whether that's physical or mental, that have gone on. And as I said before, every person has that in their life anyway, and it's exacerbated, I think, in those teenage years, are massively exacerbated in the last 12 months. And so I think this has come at a time when it's really needed. And also they play amazing music. Yeah. And started writing their own music, which is really good. So that's always a bonus when you're a music fan.
Yeah, and I've got some to play as well. One from Sam and one from Luca. Do you want to give us a brief idea what the song's called and what it's about, what inspired you, Sam?
Well, I don't have a name for the song or really an interesting story. I just got some chords and I wrote a song basically.
Okay, that's good. If it works for you, that's
when you collect the Grammy, Sam, try and think of a better speech. And great, work for Paul McCartney. Good.
It'll be our song to win the Grammy for, not his. Don't worry, it'll be my song.
And what about you, Luca? What's your song called?
My song's called "Crappy Moments in Red Dresses." It was probably, I think, one of the first songs I wrote. I wrote one with Sam like a very long time ago, and it was a very good song, that. But no, I we have to do composition in music GCSE, and so like with like the bass and guitar and that kind of stuff I learned from Claire, Sam, and Matt. I just wrote a song like like Sam said, it's just a few chords, you know.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's more than that. It's very good. They're very good, and Lucas has lyrics with it and everything. I actually have it on my phone, and I play my music in the car, my normal music, Foo Fighters, Motley Crue, Phantom of the Opera, actually, everything. I'm pretty, varied with my music taste. Then all of a sudden something comes on, it's like Lucas' song, and I'm like, I don't switch it off, put it that way. I'm like, yeah, it's Lucas' song. It's quite amazing. I'm thinking he wrote this when he was 14, and it's really good. And he can sing as well, although he would never sing in the band. I'm trying to get him to do that, but he's... he's more talented than he realizes, but it's really good. And you're thinking, wow, this is just amazing. These kids are writing these songs, and what they're getting from that, other than the music, it's just brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing them with us. I really appreciate it. So we can play it on the show. How can people find out, Claire, what you've got coming up? You've got so much going on. How can people find out about you?
Lots of things going on, too much going on. The housework's not getting done. So we have a Facebook page which is the whatever at Stratford Music Network, all one word. We've also got a sub page, if you like, which is Spark Youth Music, which talks about all the sort of Spark programs that we've got going on, all the different settings and all the things they can do as part of that, the recording of the original track, the live performance, all the things that kids will be doing as part of that program. So that's all in that page. We replicate that on Instagram, so the same two tags or whatever it's called. I'm not down with the cool kids, whatever it's called, Stratford Music Network and Spark Youth Music. Also Twitter accounts, Stratford Music Network, one is called Music Stratford, I think. So all the information is on there, and all the contact details and whatever. And if anyone wants to get involved, and I mean that from the perspective of any parents who think that their kids could get involved in a Spark programme, I mean it from the perspective of any organisations and charities that think these are the people we work with, they would really benefit from this. So, specific settings, sponsors and organisations that may want to help us doing this, because actually what we've done is set up Stratford Music Network. I forgot to add this in at the beginning. It's a community interest company, Emma, so that means that we don't make any profit from this. It's all the profits go back into what we're doing, and that includes the Shakespeare Sessions, which Earl at the bar is going to be helping to run. He's given us the venue, brilliant venue, every Friday night, tickets £1. But with that as well, he's going to be making a donation every week, and that donation for the performances, the bands will get paid, but he's going to make a donation in addition to that, and that donation is going to go towards a young person being able to be on one of our Spark programs, which covers like the professional tutors we bring in and all that kind of thing, and give somebody that gift of music where ordinarily they might not have been able to do it. So in terms of what's coming up, we got lots and lots coming up. We've got all the Spark programs that are going to start in September. We have possibly a couple of summer programs depending on sort of the COVID restrictions and demand in various areas, which is just a smaller version of the Spark program really. The main one starting in September, they run September till July, so that's the one part of it. These guys here, certainly Leash and the Ripcords. Midnight System is more of a fledgling band, but it won't be long. It will literally be a matter of weeks. I'll be on that stage and they'll be doing 1 or 2 songs, even if it's just that. Somebody's going to mentor them. So I saw what he did last year with the band, and he's pretty cool. So all these bands here, we've got lots of things set up for the summer, lots of outdoor gigs, kind of mini festivals. Not quite Glastonbury yet, but this time next year, who knows, Emma? You'll have to. You'll be booking us in. We'll be like, Emma, I'm afraid we can't do an interview with you today. We're on Radio 1. So there's that. And the main thing, the really big thing, I suppose, that's happening, which also includes all these guys, but lots of other people, which we need to get the call out for them, is these Shakespeare Sessions, which are going to start on the 25th of June. At Shakespeare Street Bar and club, and those we're going to have. The opening night is going to be amazing. Actually, we've got City of Culture, Face of City of Culture opening, Unique James. We're going to be running a competition to get the support band on. So we're going to send a competition out. We're going to get bands or musicians to write in and say why they think there should be the support act on that night. We've got a really great headline act, which is going to be announced in the next day or so. But every week we'll be getting people, running these sessions, hope to get people through the door. And what the point is, I want to send that message out to the people in Stratford and the surrounding areas. It's £1. They're going to have a fantastic night. Come in, have great entertainment. These bands these are great. We wouldn't put them on stage unless they felt confident, even if they only do the 1 or 2 songs. But what they're going to be doing, they're going to have a great night's entertainment, and it's cheap, it's £1, but also they're coming in and they're going to be supporting young music, up and coming musicians. But not only that, they're going to be supporting young people who are doing all the offstage stuff and want to get into the creative industries, like the sound people, the lighting, that kind of thing. We're going to have all these kids coming in, on a regular basis and doing this. So my final call really is to say to any young people out there, whether they're on stage or off stage, to get in touch with me. And we'll make that happen, basically. And particularly the colleges, if they're listening to this, they need to know that, they're the ones who, nurturing these kids who are on these media and music courses, who often don't get that real life experience because it's difficult, to go out and get that. And they can get in touch with me, and we can get those young people in and get them some experience and get, their careers kick-started, basically. And lots going on.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been a pleasure to meet you all, and I wish you all the best with all your gigs and all your rehearsals and everything that you've got going on. It sounds fantastic.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
For having us.
Thank you.
That was Claire and some band members from Stratford Music Network. Find out more about them on socials and do support their upcoming events.